Welcome back for another packed episode of News Dump. And, we would really like to start things off with the news that Katy Perry will be blasted into space for her crimes against music.
Okay.
But unfortunately, our big dumb president has decided to ambush the leader of a country who is actively at war with one of our adversaries. And we're talking about Ukraine, a country that our elected officials have shown bipartisan support for until about a month ago. Something changed.
Friendship ended with Volodymyr Zelenskyy. Now, Vladimir Putin is my best friend.
Yeah, so on Friday, Trump welcomed Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy into the Oval Office.
I wouldn't say welcomed.
Yeah, in anticipation for what was being pitched as a quote-unquote natural resources agreement.
A shakedown.
Between Ukraine and the U.S., which right from the jump, anyone could guess that this was going to be an awful deal for the Ukrainians. But the general idea seemed to be that the U.S. would get favorable future contracts for minerals and also oil and natural gas, and then would help Ukraine defend itself. Now, Trump previously stated that he wanted the United States to be paid somewhere to the effect of $500 billion in addition to future projects as repayment for the defense funding that we provided to them. When, yeah, it doesn't really work like that, but, and it also wasn't that much, nowhere near that, but all right.
I don't even agree with the, warhawk neoliberal approach to foreign policy that exists right now, but we're not just doing this out of the kindness of our hearts. There's larger, plans. We get things out of it that you can't exactly quantify.
Yes.
So it's very strange to look at it in this very just minute quid pro quo sort of way.
Yeah.
But that's our boy. Art of the deal.
Yeah.
So this all gets back to the conversation between Trump and French President Emmanuel Macron from earlier in the week as well. Another beautiful meeting. Trump has been trying to convince everyone that other countries are getting paid back for all their financial contributions to Ukrainian defense. What about us? He's trying to convince everyone that the U.S. contributed more than anyone else. Neither of those things are true.
Yeah.
It wouldn't typically be worth arguing about, but Trump's figure of $350 billion is more than double what our country has actually spent on Ukraine. And even then, Europe has still given far more financially. In regards to repayment, both the U.S. and Europe have contributed to Ukraine using the same methods, primarily direct funding and support, as well as loans. The French president corrected Trump on both statements, causing just one of a handful of international incidents just this week, and one that would pale in comparison to the Oval Office meeting between Trump, Zelenskyy, and assistant to the vice president, J.D. Vance, who was there for some reason.
Yeah. He was there to pipe up when needed and do all the yelling and the carrying water.
It's like when the CEO brings his son to work and says, son,
you fire someone.
You fire him. I want to see you do it. I want to see if you got that dog in you.
Now, at one point during this meeting, according to the Associated Press, the White House press secretary was alerted to the fact that somehow one of those pesky, sneaky reporters from Russian state-run news agency TASS was in the Oval Office despite not being on the approved media list. Oops.
Well, at least the Associated Press was nowhere in sight.
Yeah,
That's
luckily,
what matters.
Yeah, luckily that was taking place. Also, just approved media list. Very, very consequential meeting between our president and a world leader who is currently at war.
Yeah.
And then just you would assume that security would be better than just having random people walk into the room. And
also, and we'll get to it, but the type of meeting you would assume would mostly happen behind closed doors, with the photo op section reserved for the part where the press and the media are all there.
Yeah, but hey, look, for their part, when it was pointed out very clearly that this was someone from Russia in the room, they did remove them. When the press office learned the reporter was in the Oval Office, he was escorted out.
Okay.
Anyways, things got heated really quick between Trump, Vance, and Zelenskyy, with Vance in particular showing off that new testosterone regimen that Joe Rogan has him on.
He's on the meat and salt diet.
Yeah.
And butter, too. And, tallow. He's on that tallow.
Mm-hmm.
He's off the seed oils.
Yeah.
He's sunning his butthole.
Seed oils actually do have a connection to Ukraine. I mentioned it a little bit later on, but Vance, his T levels were very high today. He first told Zelenskyy that he should be thanking President Trump.
You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
And then he accused the Ukrainian president of performing for the cameras and using propaganda, quote unquote, to get what he wants.
You bring people, you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems.
And this comes after weeks of Trump just throwing Ukraine under the bus and calling Zelenskyy a fucking dictator.
Yeah, going into this meeting, he would be forgiven for
being a little on edge.
A dictator without elections. Zelenskyy better move fast or he's not going to have a country left.
I still think that Mr. Zelenskyy is a dictator.
Did I say that? I can't believe I said that.
And other Republican representatives who are now refusing to comment on who actually started the war.
It was 3 years ago. It wasn't that long ago.
No.
I think we all remember.
Zelenskyy reminds everyone that the U.S., luckily, has an entire ocean in between its enemies, and that very quickly set Trump off. He starts berating Zelenskyy, telling him that he's in no position. You're in a very bad position. You hold no cards. And that with us, you start having cards. Here's some clips.
From the very beginning of the war,
You're not
Mr.
in a
Brown,
good position.
I
You don't
was
have the cards right now. With us, you start having
not
cards.
playing
But
cards.
right now, you don't.
I'm very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
Anyway, it gets more intense with Trump getting worked up to the point where he tells Zelenskyy that he's disrespecting the United States, gambling with millions of lives, and potentially starting World War III.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War III.
what do you
You're
think
gambling
about?
with
What do you
World
think
War
about?
III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
Yeah.
Definitely a good and normal thing for the President of the United States to say to a beloved ally.
Yes.
Fuck. Assistant to the Vice President, J.D. Vance, he butts in and asks, as if scolding a toddler, have you said thank you once?
Far more than a lot of people said
wearing
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once this
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today,
have you said thank
even
you?
today.
And Zelenskyy,
Wow.
Zelenskyy replies correctly, yes, many times. With Vance then accusing Zelenskyy of campaigning for the opposition, which I guess means being friendly to Biden and Kamala Harris, even though Biden was the president for the last
Yeah.
4 years before this, much of the war. You know.
The administration that had provided unquestioning support and defense.
Yeah.
It's weird that he would
Why would
be
he-
nice to them.
Yeah, why would he be thankful to the president who gave him a bunch of stuff and then give the cold shoulder to the president who wants to give him nothing?
And not
It's about-
not
it's
just
a
give him
mystery.
nothing, but give away everything he was fighting for.
Yeah.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not
Yeah.
speaking loudly. Your country's
Can I-
in big
can I-
trouble.
And yeah, that's also without acknowledging that Zelenskyy also publicly met with and glazed up Trump during the campaign as well.
Yeah,
He knew the game.
he did, and he played it.
And he, when Trump won, he was right out there. Congratulations,
Mr. Trump! Oh, well, such a big penis.
Yeah.
Oh, the biggest penis I've ever seen.
He was playing the game
Yeah.
the way it's played.
Yeah.
You might not like it, but this is what peak performance on the international
guess.
stage looks like.
But it's safe to say that that deal, the one that was apparently going to...
The minerals. They're called
these,
minerals.
Damn it, Marie.
Marie, they're minerals.
They're not rocks. They're minerals, and they're valuable.
Yeah.
They're so valuable that both Russia and China want them, but also the European Union and the United States want them. And, you know, Biden, with all of his defense funding, was trying to do things a little hush-hush. He was trying to be like, all right, well, look,
Yeah.
we don't really want anything, but it'd be probably pretty nice if we could get some of those mineral contracts. And Trump comes in and he's like, I heard there were minerals. We want them. We want
I'll
them.
take those minerals, please.
So yeah, the mineral deal is
Not happening.
It's not happening.
They left without signing anything. That was the whole reason he was here.
Not only did he leave, he was told to leave.
He was kicked out.
Yeah, left in his SUV.
Wait,
and-
did he sign it? Oh, fuck.
Oh,
Bring him
shit.
back.
we will get to the fallout, but here are some more bizarre clips from the rest of that meeting, which eventually devolved into Trump just reverting to random buzzwords from his campaign last year.
Yeah, he goes into like a power cycle mode where it's just like keywords.
Yep.
I mean, he probably was about to talk about Hannibal Lecter before.
At any moment, yeah.
Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia.
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now?
All right, well, with more on the minutes that followed this overly aggressive and seemingly intentional ambush.
Weird.
Yes.
And unprecedented. Like, this is just, listen, I don't care how you fucking feel about Ukraine and this war and our support for it. I have very complicated feelings about it. But watching this go down made me just instantly be like, fuck this shit. We need to give Ukraine a nuke. Like, it's just like this is not how this shit is done.
No.
And also, it's like, oh, we can debate. Oh, did Ukraine start the war? No, they fucking didn't. If there's any other country you can argue started this war other than Russia, it's us. We do bear a lot of fucking responsibility in this situation, and it's fucked up that Ukraine, and Zelenskyy in particular, a country that's just done whatever the fuck we asked them to do this whole time, is being
getting screwed.
Yeah, getting like treated like a bad teenager.
And so obviously in front of everyone.
Say what you will about this man. Like, he could have got on a fucking helicopter and gotten the hell out of Ukraine. And
sold it off to Trump,
received many offers to do so in the early days of the war.
Nope, he stuck with it.
Stayed there. And that is a level of like bravery and character that Trump and Vance and everyone else in this cabinet will never fucking have. I'm sorry. I'm on Team Volodymyr for this one.
Yeah, well, with more on the minutes that followed the very overly aggressive meeting with one of our allies, here's the Associated Press. In a post on Truth Social, Trump repeated that Zelenskyy was disrespectful. I have determined that President Zelenskyy is not ready for peace if America is involved, because he feels our involvement gives him a big advantage in negotiations, Trump wrote. I don't want advantage. I want peace. He can come back when he's ready for peace, he added. Zelenskyy had been scheduled to have lunch with Trump, and both leaders were going to sign a minerals deal during a joint news conference. Instead, Zelenskyy's armored SUV abruptly pulled up to the door of the West Wing moments after Trump's post.
Yeah, they also point out that just Friday morning, Zelenskyy had met with a bipartisan group of senators, and several Republicans in attendance had left praising the deal he had been readying to sign with Trump. This is a huge step forward in securing mutual prosperity and peace for Americans and Ukrainians, Senator Roger Wicker, the Republican chair of the Senate Armed Services Committee, had said in a statement shortly before Trump and Zelenskyy's Oval Office meeting. Instead, the meeting ended with Trump cutting off talks with Zelenskyy. Senator Chris Murphy, a Connecticut Democrat, posted on X, "What an utter embarrassment for America. This whole sad scene."
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like every day is new embarrassments.
Yeah.
We've always been hated, but we are hated so much more viscerally right now. And, you know, they're right. They're all fucking right.
It is. I mean, it's obvious why these things are happening, but it's also baffling to me that it's so just on its face corrupt and evil in so many cases with everything we've talked about over the past month. Like, just blatantly obvious, and evil being the point. It's very frustrating to live in. Now, most Republicans were lockstep in their reactions to the ambush.
He was disrespectful. He should have worn a suit.
Despite some supporting Ukraine's efforts and U.S. support over the past 3 years. It's as soon as Trump's like, oh, he's a bad guy, instantly they have to...
I've never supported Ukraine.
Instantly they've had to change. And this is in the wake of a bunch of town halls across the country where specifically Republican lawmakers have been grilled by their constituents about support for Ukraine.
A little follow-up on that. Apparently, I can't remember who covered it, but within the RNC, they're just like, yeah, just don't do town halls anymore.
Yeah.
We should all just not do town halls for 6 months to a year. Let this whole thing cool off.
But yeah, most of the Republicans that replied immediately with the reactions just are saying exactly what Trump wants to hear, that he's a big tough guy.
Yeah.
Oh, look at those big muscles on him. He's
He
so
really
strong.
showed Ukraine.
Yeah, he stood up to that tyrant, Volodymyr Zelenskyy.
Dictator.
The one who Trump himself said has no cards. He really stood up to that guy.
Yeah.
Senator Mike Lee, Republican of Utah, thanked Trump for standing up for our country and putting America first in a post on X. And yeah, that standing up for our country, that was a line that was repeated by countless Republicans. So they all got the memo. Elon Musk said on X, Zelenskyy destroyed himself in the eyes of the American people. Okay, bud, whatever you say. Elon, you fucking piece of shit.
So this meeting also puts the U.S. once again on the bad side of our allies in Europe, who gotta be on a lot of group chats.
They had an emergency meeting about us like a week ago.
Yeah, if I was in their shoes, and I'm sure they're doing this to some degree, this is a once in a century opportunity for global realignment, and you got to strike while the iron's hot, baby. But yeah, prime ministers, presidents, and foreign ministers across the continent of Europe issued statements or took to social platform X to express their support for Zelenskyy and Ukraine. The strongest comments so far have come from French President Emmanuel Macron, Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson, and the foreign minister from Estonia, which borders Russia. And now Trump is demanding a ceasefire and continuing to point fingers at Zelenskyy for perpetuating the war as if the meeting wasn't a total setup after weeks of vilifying the Ukrainian leader and lying about the U.S. and Europe's contributions to their defenses, all while laying out the real reason he's even interested in working with Ukraine in the first place, instead of just handing it over to Russia entirely. They got valuable rare earth minerals that every country desperately wants in order to maintain tech supremacy, along with their oil and natural gas reserves.
Also very important.
Yes. Also, probably worth noting that RFK Jr. and J.D. Vance's war against those pesky, disgusting seed oils.
You never heard about these seed oils until so recently.
You know, McDonald's, they used to put the fries in beef tallow. Back then, everyone had huge tits.
And giant muscles.
And big muscles. It was that was the real America. Once we started putting seed oils in the McDonald's fries, everyone got fat. Men were becoming women were becoming men.
You're not doing his voice correctly.
I wasn't doing RFK.
Okay.
I would never subject the audience to that. Yeah, the seed oil thing. The jury's definitely still out on that.
It has nothing to do with the science.
So far, just literal disinformation. Has everything to do, though, with the fact that Ukraine is one of the top exporters of seed oils in the world.
Yeah. So, there you go. But speaking of RFK Jr., unfortunately, we do have to reference him because Trump has decided that the vaccine-denying Nepo baby should be in charge of our country's health.
Oh, yeah, that.
And it just so happens that mere weeks into the Trump administration, and in addition to a potential bird flu outbreak that could continue jumping to humans, there is also a measles outbreak in Texas that has unfortunately, very sadly, taken its first young victim as of this past week.
Well, you know, people die of measles all the time.
No, they don't, even though that's what RFK Jr. said. This actually marks the first United States measles death in a decade.
No, that can't be true.
No, it is true.
No, I'm pretty sure people die of measles all the time.
Right up there with the first airplane fatalities.
Listen, me, RFK, I don't know, the people I hang out with, they die of measles all the time.
I did a vibe check.
I did more Alex Jones there.
Yeah. Obviously, this is an extremely serious issue that will be handled seriously by our Department of Health, which is, checking my notes here, run by a person who has done more damage to vaccine acceptance in this country than maybe anyone else outside of Jenny McCarthy. Great. That guy's in charge of health. Let's go. It also doesn't help that it's spreading in a part of the country that assumes you can just ignore it and it'll go away.
Yeah.
I can't see it. It doesn't exist.
I have an immune system.
Or at the very least, they believe that it exists, but that it only spreads to poor people. So therefore, their children, why should my kids get vaccinated?
It's one of those dirty diseases.
As the Texas Tribune points out, the leaders there in Texas have been noticeably quiet about this whole thing.
We do things a little bit differently down here in the great state of Texas.
Silently, until it's time to clap for our stars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Texas is facing its worst measles outbreak in decades, as cases have jumped from 2 to 146 in just 1 month. A child is dead, 20 more are hospitalized, and the worst is likely still ahead, public health experts say, as Texas's decreasing vaccination rates leave swaths of the state exposed to the most contagious virus humans currently face. Woo! State and local health officials are setting up vaccine clinics and encouraging people to get the shot, which is more than 97% effective at warding off measles. But neither Governor Greg Wheels Abbott nor lawmakers from the hardest hit areas have addressed the outbreak publicly in press conferences, social media posts, or public calls for people to consider getting vaccinated. State and local authorities in West Texas have not yet enacted more significant measures that other places have adopted during outbreaks, like excluding unvaccinated students from school before they're exposed or enforcing quarantine after exposure. You know, liberal bullshit. We're not going to be doing any of that.
Yeah.
I think this is a great time for us all to stand even closer together.
Yeah.
And stop washing our hands.
Yes. They cite a previous outbreak in 2019, which was contained after Clark County, Washington deployed the proper isolation protocol.
Not going to be doing that down here in Texas.
And over there in Washington State, it took 4 months to stop the outbreak, but it resulted in less than 100 overall cases and 0 deaths.
Well, you know, it's real wet up there. It's wet. Down here in Texas, nice and dry.
I mean, it is timing correctly to where Greg Abbott could just wheel out into the sun and say, there she is. The sun's back out. It's going to clear all this up in about 2 weeks.
That's right.
The public health director of that Washington County, the one that, did things right and got it clamped down and stopped the spread.
Who knows? Who's to say what was right?
That public health director, Dr. Alan Melnick, stressed the importance for Texas officials to act now in order to stop the spread.
Well, what would you know about that?
Melnick said Texas's fast rising case counts worried him.
Okay, buddy.
And he was shocked that unvaccinated students in the area were still being allowed to go to school.
He's probably up there in Washington smoking that weed that they legalized. Yeah, I don't trust him. Down here in Texas, we send you to prison for weed.
They stay up there in the Emerald City. Quote, I'm just blown away. This is not politics. I'm just talking science and medicine here. School districts in Texas are required to exclude unvaccinated students for at least 21 days after they are exposed to measles. But to proactively exclude unvaccinated students before they're known to be exposed requires the Texas Health Commissioner to declare a public health emergency.
Nope.
And a spokesperson for the Texas Department of Health said there are no plans to declare an emergency at this time, noting that more than 90% of Texans are vaccinated for measles.
Not as good as 10 and round up to 100.
And those 90%, I'm going to tell you right now, I would venture to guess that the majority of those Texans are older, because vaccines like this used to be absolutely fucking mandatory with very few exceptions, because they work. They work and they save lives. In fact, I went ahead and looked it up, and the number of unvaccinated kindergartners in Texas has doubled in the past decade.
Yeah, probably especially within like the last 5 years, because it's now become this.
It's a political issue because of COVID.
Well, like so many people, especially during and after COVID, like moved to Texas specifically because it's like, I like how they do things down there.
Yeah.
They just let diseases spread. They don't fucking do anything about it. I want to live like that. I'm not going to vaccinate any of my fucking kids, and we're just going to roll the fucking dice.
Yeah.
And we'll win, obviously, because we got strong immune systems.
Yeah, they're willing to make the sacrifice of their children so that the strongest do survive.
I'm willing to see how it plays out.
I guess.
Anyway, let's at least check in now on the FBI and see what our country's lead investigation bureau has on its priorities list now that conspiracy theorist and FBI critic, also podcaster, Kash Patel is in charge. We obviously thought it would be pretty difficult to, replenish the ranks of this agency once Trump and Musk get done firing anyone who even touched a January 6th case. But Kash Patel, thinking outside the box, he's got an idea that would solve their problem pretty easily. A partnership between the Federal Bureau of Investigation and, come on down, it's Dana White's Ultimate Fighting Championship.
UFC, baby. They both got 3 letters. It already works.
UFC, FBI, share an F. So it's a
United Federal Fighting Championship.
So while this so far doesn't mean an actual UFC fighter to FBI agent pipeline, it can't be far behind because, these guys, they crash. Yeah, but like all athletes, you hit a certain age and you can't get hit in the head anymore. And
they need something to do.
And then what do? You didn't go to college.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you open a fucking auto dealership, but like the options are slim. But this way, after you've got just CTE over and over again, and you can't
serve your country,
can't do anything else, we give you a gun, a badge. We send you over to Langley, Virginia. We show you a quick PowerPoint, and then we send you off to do whatever the FBI does. Investigate aliens and UFOs, I assume, based off the FBI I've seen in the media. I don't know if they do anything else.
Yes, well, it's not there yet. The UFC is currently...
Can you imagine Conor McGregor meeting up with the cigarette-smoking man, trying to track down the black goo?
Cauliflower ear is actually sonar for humans. Beep. Whoa. Hell, I've got a lot in there. But no, as of right now, the UFC is not a farm system for the FBI. But
know about.
But it can't be too far behind, because what Kash Patel has in mind, outside of just handing a very lucrative government contract to Dana White for obvious reasons, is that he wants the UFC fighters to train FBI agents. Okay.
Well, maybe they can learn a little bit from each other.
And to be fair, the UFC might be a little too busy right now. They're, of course, are obviously hard at work on Trump's migrant fighting league.
Yeah,
so how are they going to take on another government contract? But I guess we'll have to see how all of this plans out and how the UFC will integrate with our federal government.
They're going to have to change the badge. Now it's an octagon shape.
That's right. They should change the Pentagon to an octagon.
I mean, that's not that's... You know, it doesn't matter. Who cares?
They shrink every part of the government, but literally physically grow the Pentagon into the octagon.
Yeah, we're changing it up. It's going to be expensive, but it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
Because what's better than 5 sides? That's right, 8 sides.
And yes, we know that the FBI is not the same, but
yeah, the FBI's over in Langley. The
but combined all of them.
You know, there's a lot of empty office space down at the Pentagon. Why don't we move the FBI into the Pentagon, change it to the octagon?
Just because the XFL and the Canadian FL, the CFL, merged doesn't mean that that entity won't eventually be merged into the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Thus giving it the required 8 sides.
It is a little bit silly to have, like, the FBI, NSA, DOD, have them all be different agencies. Like,
in terms of efficiency, we should
combine them into one government force that is extremely loyal to our leader.
Yeah.
We'll call them the
ultimate federal commission.
I was thinking the SS, but yours is better.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Ultimate Federal Commission. Yes, that's correct.
Anyway, here's ABC. Here's ABC News. Newly installed FBI Director Kash Patel has proposed enhancing...
Time to make a cash call.
Enhancing the FBI's ranks with help from the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Hoorah! The martial arts entertainment giant, whose wealthy CEO, Dana White, helped boost President Donald Trump's re-election, according to sources who were told of Patel's proposal.
On a teleconference Wednesday with the heads of the FBI's 55 field offices, Patel suggested that he wants the FBI to establish a formal relationship with UFC, which could develop programs for agents to improve their physical fitness, said sources who had been briefed on Wednesday's call. UFC's White, who is estimated to be worth hundreds of millions of dollars, has long been friends with Trump and last year became a big donor to Trump's presidential campaign. Just days after Trump won the election in November, Trump attended a heavily promoted UFC fight at Madison Square Garden in New York City, where he sat in the front row between White and Musk. So, while this is very stupid, it's currently not staffing the FBI with goons.
Not yet.
It's just signaling that they might give a lucrative government contract to someone who helped fund Trump's re-election campaign and is, of course, very nice to him.
Yeah, Dana White's going to be getting a consulting fee for showing up once and being like, all right, you got to put him in an armbar.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on now to what has become a recurring segment on this show.
Yeah.
Oh, no. The leopards are eating my face.
Oh!
Now, this week's is a real doozy, and it's really hard to get angry at someone who voted in a particular way for a particular reason because they were lied to directly.
Yeah.
But it's very easy to be frustrated with them and hope that somehow reality breaks through the fog that MAGA has created in so many people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
The Washington Post recently interviewed a 24-year-old Trump voter who also happens to be a federal worker, who also happens to have been fired as a result of the Trump administration and Doge's blind cost-cutting initiatives.
Yeah.
Again, frustrating, but it gives you a small peek into what people were thinking and how they're reacting now when faced with the reality of what they voted for, which is, of course, it's heartbreaking.
all I can say is it's frustrating. It's like,
Yeah.
I can stand here and say, what did you think was going to happen? But then again, like, these are people who are out there, working jobs and not fully locked into what's happening. So this person hears that Trump promises something and says, okay, well, my grocery bill's too high and I want this thing that he's saying he's going to give to everyone. So I'm going to vote for the guy. And unfortunately, he's decided to make some cuts. Anyways, here's the Washington Post. Riley Cooper exhaled as she slid onto the couch after 9 hours of work for the U.S. Forest Service, still covered in the blue paint she used to mark trees for local loggers. Then she got the text. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, her union leader wrote. The article talks about how she assumed her job was safe, even after watching the headlines of federal job cuts popping up. She says that she was also a bit more concerned with potential motherhood, and that's why she voted for Trump after all. Cooper, 24, and her husband were trying to get pregnant, but the doctor said that IVF might be their best chance. Trump had promised to make it free.
Wait, what? Did he do that?
Yep. That is what she thought about in the voting booth. Now she was staring at her phone, learning that probationary workers in the Forest Service were the next to be fired by his administration. Cooper was likely to be one of them, her union had told her. Her eyes watered. She knew it wasn't personal.
Every day brought new rumors of cuts, and her performance evaluation from last fall found her fully successful, the highest possible score. She thought about the Facebook post she had seen a few days earlier. It's February 3rd, her grandmother posted, and we're going in the right direction. Ooh. Any government employee who's afraid of transparency, wrote the man who taught her AP government class in high school, is a criminal. Getting fired meant she would no longer have health insurance, including the 12 weeks of paid maternity leave that was guaranteed benefit of her federal service. Also gone would be the promotion that would allow her to plan for the kids she so badly wanted to have. She wondered if Trump was going to break his promise to make IVF free, and if it would even matter if he did. Lady, I know you've heard a lot of bad news lately, but I've got more for you.
Yeah.
That shit's not fucking happening. And
Federal worker in a union wanting some form of birth control or to help.
This just makes me think of that meme, like it's like a still from the Garfield show, where it's Garfield and there's a sign with Garfield's exact face, but with like an X over it. And he's like, I wonder who that's about.
I mean, it's unfortunate that people have to be faced with the reality that a lot of people were shouting at them. Like, hey, it's just, I mean, it's very odd, but it gives you a good example of just like who the voters are. This is a federal worker who is part of a union, who was trying to conceive through a method that isn't just missionary sex, which is what the church says is okay.
Yeah.
It goes on to say that she initially didn't want to vote for Trump, but the price of her mortgage and groceries and IVF treatment was far too expensive.
Price of eggs and the price of eggs.
Yeah. And when he made a stop near her hometown, he promised that he would make IVF free. And quote, she knew that from a video clip she saw on TikTok, and she had believed him.
This is crazy, but I've never heard this claim from him until this moment.
It was in response because they went too far with it. Come out in Project 2025 that they were absolutely going to get rid of IVF and all that stuff.
Right.
And Trump had to backtrack and say, no, actually, I'm the IVF guy.
I'm going to make it free.
Yeah. And she also believed him when he said that Project 2025, the conservative blueprint for the next Republican administration that suggested mass cuts to the federal workforce, was not his plan.
Everyone needs to stop being so credulous.
Yeah.
Like, the big thing is, I mean, say what you will about the Democrats, but like the Republicans have been extremely consistent going back decades about like a lot of really basic parts of their platform. And I guess more people should educate themselves on what that is. Because, like, what he's doing is wild, but it is not at all off the path that Republicans have laid going back to the early 20th century.
He's just giving them the opening to do all of that stuff that they've wanted to do for decades.
They've been trying to fire federal workers for so long.
Yeah.
Like,
the Department of Education, all of these things.
This is all consistent with the shit they've been trying to do for a very long time.
Yeah, this is awful. But let's move on to something slightly lighter. And we are one episode short this week because we didn't want to put something up on Economic Blackout Day. So the next stories would typically be something that we would save for Weekly Weird News, but we're going to cover it here instead and pick things back up on our full schedule again next week. Folks, It might not exactly fall into the definition of a cool crime, but it's a classic crime.
Yeah.
We've got yet another good old-fashioned train heist on our hands. And maybe the Bannons didn't ride alongside a speeding locomotive, jump from their horses into an open car, climb onto the roof, run along the tops of the cars towards the conductor and force him to stop the train so they could rob everyone blind. But honestly, it's not too far off. Okay. Modern problems call for modern solutions.
Yeah, we need to start deputizing people.
Regardless, it is a train heist with an incredibly lucrative haul nonetheless, as thieves have targeted the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Line, BNSF Railways, and stolen at least $2 million worth of merchandise so far.
Damn.
Here's NPR with more on these modern-day Butch Cassidys.
A series of brazen train robberies have been carried out across the western United States, resulting in the theft of millions of dollars worth of Nike merchandise. In one criminal complaint filed in U.S. District Court in Arizona, 11 people have been charged in connection with a theft that took place on January 13th. Authorities say train burglaries have increased over the past 2 years, specifically targeting BNSF railway trains. The latest wave of robberies was first reported by the Los Angeles Times. The Times reports that there have been at least 10 robberies since last March, during which thieves have stolen approximately $2 million worth of Nike merchandise. These heists are believed to be connected to an international crime syndicate based in the Mexican state of Sinaloa, the complaint says.
The criminal complaint further describes the thieves' modus operandi. Once aboard the trains, the robbers used bolt cutters and saws to break open container locks and go to work, stealing electronics, footwear, and other valuable items. In the January heist in Perrin, Arizona, thieves targeted a BNSF train transporting Nike products. The perpetrators cut the train's braking system air hose, which triggered a dangerous automatic emergency stop. Once the train was halted, the burglars unloaded thousands of pairs of valuable unreleased Nike Air Jordan sneakers, hiding them in nearby bushes until they could be retrieved. So they had a tip. They knew that these trains had a shipment of unreleased Nike Air Jordans on them. Pretty wild.
They got to start putting like serial numbers on these.
Well, they had, in one of the cases, they had a GPS tracker, so they were able to locate the goods, and multiple people were arrested in that specific scenario, which is fucking wild. Like, you just toss an AirTag in there with it.
Yeah, I mean that's what they do with the bank. Or no, they put the paint thing in there.
Yeah. I'm sure they have GPS trackers too, but yeah. That's why airlines, I think they've embraced it now, but for a while airlines were like, don't put the AirTags in there.
Nah, you can trust us.
Yeah.
Nah.
We're the airlines. Trust us.
Save your AirTag for something you're actually going to lose, not your luggage. But with more weird news and news that feels far more ominous than it probably should, Katy Perry will apparently be shot into space on top of Jeff Bezos' massive rocket.
Yeah.
And we're not exactly sure why Katy Perry, of all people, should be given the opportunity to float around in space. But she'll have company up there because Jeff Bezos is also sending his girlfriend.
Yeah.
His Latina novia. And at this point, you're probably wondering, okay, is he intentionally flying two people he no longer likes into space?
Anything could happen.
But Gayle King from CBS's morning show is also joining them. And she seems to be generally well-liked.
Yeah.
I don't know what Jeff thinks of her.
Hey, guy. Oh, room just showed up. Hey, you're going with my fiance, who I have no problems with. And also Katy Perry, beloved musician who has had multiple hits over the past few years. She's going up too.
Baby, you're a firework.
But we'll never make you become one.
Yeah. But yeah, Katy Perry, that last album,
not doing so great.
So good. Everyone loved it so much. They said, send her into space.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gayle King seems like the type of person you'd want to go on one of these PR trips. Someone who can eloquently report their feelings and experience to a world that's already familiar with them.
And hopefully this time the owner of the company isn't there to blast champagne in their face while they're having clearly the most emotional moment of their very, very long life.
The Bill Shatner one was...
Who is, by the way, sober, cannot have alcohol, and got sprayed in the face with fucking champagne while he's trying to describe...
I saw the Earth, it was small, it's all we have, we're destroying it. Oh my God.
I will be dying soon.
What have we done?
Yeah. I guess, expressing this kind of experience eloquently and in a way that is familiar. I guess that Katy Perry does that for millennial women.
Yeah, Katy Perry's the William Shatner of
millennial women,
the early 2010s.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't know. I'm not her demographic.
I am.
We got a Perry head over here.
Yeah.
He loves Katy Perry, loves Perry Farrell, and they both don't have problems.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Perry Mason.
He's on the case. You got any more?
No more Perrys.
But yeah, with more info on this latest high-profile lineup of Bezos astronauts. Here's the New York Times.
Perry from Windy City Heat.
Okay.
That's a good Perry. The singer and songwriter Katy Perry and the broadcast journalist and show host Gayle King will be among the all-female crew on the next mission of New Shepard, the space tourism rocket that is operated by Jeff Bezos' private company, Blue Origin. It will also include Aisha Bowe, a former NASA engineer, Amanda Nguyen, a research scientist, Carrie Ann Flynn, a film producer, and Loren Sanchez, who is Mr. Bezos' fiancée and a helicopter pilot. So it's an all-ladies launch. It's ladies' night on the rocket.
Yeah.
Well, baby, you've come a long way. Why don't you have yourself a Virginia Slim? But not in there.
Mm-hmm. He's either going to do amazing things for women in this country, or he's going to accidentally blow up an all-woman space crew.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to just see.
They don't have a solid date yet, a launch date. They say the Times says it's going to be this spring, which is about to be sprung.
You know, women so indecisive, can't even pick a date to fly your rocket. What can I say?
I'm sure it doesn't come down on their shoulders.
I don't know. Seems about right.
The spring launch will be the 11th flight carrying passengers and the 31st mission overall for New Shepard.
Okay.
Godspeed. I hope nothing bad ever happens to anyone who is brave enough to do these missions, or in the case of Blue Origin, rich or stupid enough to do them.
I want to be clear. I hope all these people survive.
Yeah. It's just like, I wouldn't.
No, absolutely not. I wouldn't get in a submarine. I wouldn't get in a helicopter. I'm damn certain wouldn't get in a fucking rocket.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Yeah.
I like things here on the ground.
A beautiful Earth that we should be taking much better care of.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, we'll give you some weird headlines in a second, even though this is News Dump. I know it's confusing.
It's a weird dump.
But it isn't confusing because we run the show and who cares?
Yeah, we make the rules.
So headlines in a second. But first, let's thank this week's sponsor. And it's one that we've been trying to nab as a sponsor for a while because everyone else seems to get one. Where is ours? Well, we've got it now. It's the Ridge wallet.
Look at that. I got the money in the back, cards in the middle.
Those are all ones.
And
don't pull your card out. You're going to see the number. We all used to have that big, gigantic dad wallet protruding from our back pockets, right, fellas?
Giving you back problems.
I know.
You sit.
It's annoying. It's painful. I probably have a weird-looking spine because of doing it for so long. It also made your butt look weird. Well, luckily, we have evolved, and so have our card and cash storage technology devices. In swoops Ridge Wallet with its unique, slim, modern design that holds up to 12 cards plus cash. The Ridge Wallet is made with premium materials like aluminum, titanium, and carbon fiber, and over 50 plus colors and styles to choose from.
I chose the brightest orange they had because I put this thing down all over the house.
Losing it.
I don't want to be just stomping around being like, where's my wallet?
Yeah.
Which, of course, never happens. That's not something that happens to me multiple times a week. Mm-hmm. But, you know, having the bright orange, the danger color, that helps a lot.
I got leather, which is harder to see, but also much classier, Elliot. Really sets the mood.
These babies have over 100,000 five-star reviews, and all Ridge products have a lifetime warranty. This is literally the last wallet you'll ever have to buy. And you'll also have peace of mind knowing that all Ridge wallets have RFID blocking technology, which helps to keep you safe from digital pickpockets. Their wallets also have an AirTag attachment, so you'll never lose track of your most important items. And Ridge isn't just about wallets. They create premium everyday carry essentials like key cases, suitcases, and rings, all built with the same sleek, durable design. No matter what you pick, Ridge has free shipping, a 99-day risk-free trial, and a lifetime warranty on all of their products. Right now, Ridge is having their once-a-year anniversary sale. Get up to 40% off at ridge.com/newsdump. Just head to ridge.com/newsdump to see their biggest sale of the year. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them, so please support our show and tell them our show sent you.
That's right. Now, quickly, before we get into random headlines in a news dump, I know, it's crazy. We would love to read some information gathered by intrepid reporter Bird Respecter, who made a post earlier this week that reminded us of the very existence of ultra-right beer.
Conservative dad's ultra-right.
Not to be confused with Hulk Hogan's conservative beer.
Yeah.
The one that breaks people's skulls open.
It's a crowded market.
Yeah. Turns out the ultra-right beer company, it has a very hard to achieve, illustrious, F rating with the Better Business Bureau. a bureau that you can just pay for good ratings.
Yeah, it's not real. People think it's like a government agency. And even if it was, Elon Musk would have shut it down by now.
Yeah.
But it's not real.
No, you would have to be so awful to get an F rating. But yeah, even that is not shocking. But we did want to read some reviews from very loyal ultra light beer right-wing fans regarding their favorite non-woke beer. Some of them, much like with the reviews of the Trump administration and the Cybertruck, love everything about this except for the product
Except
or
for
the
the actual product. Yeah.
or the lack thereof.
Yeah.
Here's one. I ordered ultra right beer on 9/13/23 to give as a Christmas gift. It's been a year and 5 months, and 2 Christmases have passed. I'm still waiting for it. When I emailed the company, I get the standard canned response. The phone mailbox is full, so I can't leave a message. Help! And then there's this one. Here you go, Elliot.
It gives me the shits. I'm buying more because it makes the wife frisky. Although it makes her fart with the god worst stinking ass smell. She thinks it's funny. I was down there doing my thing, and she got me in the face while holding my head. Damn!
Wow.
Okay, this is just a pervert.
Yeah.
Writing this guy never got his beer. He's just like everywhere else. He's like, okay, but what if I did get the beer?
I like farts.
What if it made my wife gassy as hell? It is.
You can imagine what it would be like.
My reaction to this is the Homer Simpson talking to Milhouse's dad. It's like, I buy my beer from the store around the corner. I walk to the store and I buy it.
I buy 5 beer from a mail order company that has an F rating with the Better Business Bureau, and it will arrive any month now.
Well, I buy my beer at the store.
Gives my wife bubble guts, and they taste delicious.
Jesus. God.
Anyways, let's for the love of God, let's get into the headlines. Elliot.
German soccer player's child bites referee's testicle, forcing game to be canceled.
He said it was very painful. It ran.
Yeah.
Luckily,
They little mouths,
the
little sharp teeth.
game didn't even get started. Apparently, it was. They were out there on the field doing their thing. The kids were having fun, and got a hankering for some balls, I guess.
Some kids are biters. It's
Yeah.
it's not good. You gotta.
And they got those loose shorts. Everyone on the field, even the refs, they got the loose soccer shorts.
Yeah.
The balls could slip out at any moment.
Well, you would think they'd be wearing. I don't know. In Europe, do they have those jock straps, or is that an American thing?
I don't know.
You want to keep your thing nice and.
I guess the
compact.
refs don't. Maybe they will now.
If I was a ref, I would, because you never know.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of red card and get kicked right in the
A
balls.
lot of
for it.
cleats swinging, a lot of balls being kicked.
Well,
I'm not taking any chances.
Well.
If that were me, that kid would have munched down and I'd been like,
Nice try, idiot.
nice try, you little rugrat.
Yeah. Game's on. Yo! Whistle goes popping off.
Whistle goes woo.
Anyways, moving on to the next headline. Fake captain steals $8 million fishing vessel.
How did that work?
Just a lot of confidence.
You just show up with the hat.
Yeah.
They don't just give these hats to anyone.
You have to earn this. You have to send away for it in a catalog.
Somewhat off topic.
Obviously, they found the fucking boat and they were
Yeah.
like, this boat doesn't belong to the guy.
I went to the Queen Mary is a ship. It is docked in Long Beach. It's permanently docked there. It's just a place they have events, but it's cool because it's an old ship. Anyway, they have a Halloween event there every year. I went there with former ETC original host Kale Anonymous, who wore a fucking white captain's hat, and throughout the whole night was getting like the special treatment from like everyone there. Random people are like, "Oh, hello, Captain."
Yeah, and just like with this and a whole lot
He
of
got
other
the
things.
velvet rope treatment just for wearing the fucking hat. And
Yeah.
I'm sure, like, you wear a
It's
captain's
social
hat.
hacking.
You wear a captain's hat anywhere nautical, and people are like,
Yeah.
"Okay, this guy belongs here."
Yeah. Yeah, it's social hacking. People are inclined to just believe whatever you tell them because average people are very trusting in that way.
Yeah. Why would someone lie about something so?
Also,
so
like, I mean, realistically, just like that guy that stole that plane a couple years ago. Like, okay, yeah, go nuts. What, you think you can fucking drive this thing?
yeah.
And then he did.
I mean, a plane's a little different. I
Yeah.
feel like most of us could drive a boat, and worst thing that
I
happens.
don't know,
is
getting
you-
out of a very busy marina with all the other ones
well,
parked
it's
around
not your
it.
boat. You don't have to care
Yeah,
about.
I guess you're right. A little more laissez-faire about
You
it.
ding the boat on the dock. Oh, it's like it's got some like you. A plane's a little different. That guy's dead for a reason.
Yeah. Well, he did.
Should have stolen a boat.
He got it up in the air and he did a roll and
He
stuff.
did do a barrel roll.
Yeah.
Alarms raised over the legitimacy of Fire Festival 2. An event that does not exist.
Yeah, people are starting to get a bit worried about this.
So I believe they've started selling tickets.
Yes, and they're promoting it as if it's something.
But there
that's
is
going
no
to be happening.
lineup, no location. It seems to be even more of like vaporware than the first Firefest.
But this one almost seems like that's the point.
Yeah, I like ever since this came up,
no legitimate musical artist would sign up for the second one.
No, I think our stance on this has been clear going back quite a while, and we've been very consistent about this. Is that Fire Festival 2 is for people who missed out on, like, really got FOMO for getting scammed the first time.
They want to be involved in a
and
scam.
want to hand over money and be scammed, so they have the story.
The
too.
second documentary is just going to be people like clowning for the camera with their, look, they gave me a terrible meal. Oh no!
Whoa, geez, it happened to go.
I had to sleep on the floor of an airport.
Yeah. Come on.
Wow.
Come on.
Mere hundreds of feet from the Sandals Resort. It would have taken minutes to walk there.
Yeah. Here's some great fucking news. Andrew Tate not welcome in Florida, Ron DeSantis says.
Hey,
not welcome.
I mean, they are not welcome. Well, too bad, because for whatever reason.
Wait, I thought Andrew Tate was he was being investigated for serious crimes in Romania.
Yeah,
why
sex
would,
trafficking and
Why would
assault.
he be in Florida?
Oh,
Explain that. I don't understand. I
Yeah,
thought he
well-
was like facing jail time in another country.
Turns out, when you're friends with our administration, things can happen.
So, okay, let me get this straight. Volodymyr Zelenskyy, bad.
Bad guy.
Bad. Andrew Tate, good.
Good.
But Ron DeSantis missed the memo. And he's like,
he's-
don't come to Miami.
And I don't exactly know where else the Tate brothers would be either
the
wanting to
only
go or
state
more
for them.
welcome than Miami, Florida.
Yeah, that's the only state that makes sense for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So too bad, Ron.
Texas, I guess.
Also, Trump and Ron are like kind of bashing heads right now because Ron, he was apparently like getting his wife in the position to take over and run for governor next. And Trump, was the guy Byron Daniels?
Byron Donald.
Byron Donald. Trump's like, yeah, we got a great guy. He's going to be a wonderful governor of Florida. So there again, it's they're not really friendly right now.
Nope.
Yeah.
Thieves bought a winning lottery ticket with a stolen credit card. Its owner has offered to split the jackpot.
Hey, look, it's bad what you did.
I mean,
but-
that's very nice of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
the owner of the credit card is the one that technically is entitled to those winnings, and to even offer the thieves.
yeah. It's pretty degen behavior to buy lottery tickets with stolen credit, though. Like, that's,
Yeah, I feel like
I don't know. I don't think that money's going to be well spent.
I know for sure. Well, I know for sure, but I believe in California it's illegal to do that. I think you have to buy it with a debit card, which they might be confusing the terminology here, but like there has to be actual cash attached in at least California to play the lottery. You have to pay cash or use a debit card, but
With a debit card, you'd need the PIN code, though, right? Maybe not.
yeah,
I don't know.
Anyways, I guess it all worked out.
Everyone's happy.
Especially the thieves.
Everyone wins. Crime does pay.
I guess that's the lesson we learned today.
West Virginia lawmakers want to recognize the Bible as accurate historical record of human history.
I mean, a lot of people in this country already believe that. So
Yeah,
for them, it really is just a bunch of paperwork.
Yeah, I mean,
They've already got that ark built in the Midwest.
yeah.
Who needs to go to Europe and see a bunch of fucking shit that was built or painted?
Bunch of fucking saints' bones and
Yeah.
shit. Disgusting. Ew.
Yeah.
No.
Who would want to go see artifacts that are older than the world itself?
Yeah, I want to go to the Ark theme park and see the little tiny dinosaurs on there next to the real animals.
They're very cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chimps prefer peeing together. 600 hours of study shows. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, it's contagious. It's like
camaraderie.
yawning.
Yeah. Yeah, you hear the pee,
Yeah.
you hear the trickle of water, and then you got to go.
Yeah, it's like with the shower. Oh my God, it's so wet. I hear moist sounds.
Yeah, time to pee.
I didn't have to pee when I got in here, but it's coming out now.
Yep.
And
That's why you don't put water sounds in your movies. And I got to go use the bathroom and miss everything.
Nope. choose my movies based on how dry they feel. They look like they're gonna be.
Also, it's like a
Mad Max, no pee breaks. Waterworld, I had to get up 6 or 7 times.
Plus, I mean, like if you think about like the productivity of these chimps, they're out there, they're doing what they do, their chimp stuff. It seems like it'd be a lot less efficient if they all went pee different times.
Yeah.
They all just go at once, and it's fine.
Yeah.
And they get to make an activity out of it.
Yeah. And sometimes they piss in their own mouth.
Yeah. It's called recycling. It's sterile and it works. I would assume that they would just be swinging around pissing all over the place all the time, but apparently they're doing it with structure.
Yep. They got rules.
Yeah.
Bank accidentally credits customer with $81 trillion instead of $280. Oh, it's a couple commas here or there.
They should do, credit to the other guy who split the money with the thieves. The bank should go, all right, look, we obviously made a mistake. How about $1 million? The article correctly points out that like
that's more money than like exists in the world.
Than the biggest economies on earth.
Yeah, $81 trillion.
Yeah,
can buy a lot of Bitcoin with that.
Yeah, you could buy the presidency.
You could buy a lot of rare Nikes with
You
that.
could own the United States.
Yeah.
And final headline for today's news dump. U.S. intelligence shows Russia and China are attempting to recruit disgruntled federal employees, sources say.
Oh, what? I can't believe it. Really?
Yeah, who would have thought that could possibly be, first of all, an option, but then a possibility.
It never occurred to me that all the chaotic shit this administration is doing is creating just really fucking obvious national security risks that can be very easily taken advantage of.
Yeah,
What?
Not just the national security risks of the unvetted personnel that are flooding the federal workspace and potentially opening up computer networks and everything else to nefarious actors, but every disgruntled person who just lost their livelihood and their health benefits.
Yeah. It's the same as like all the TikTok users who switched to that Chinese TikTok app just kind of out of spite.
Yeah.
It's these guys. They're like, you know what? Fuck it. I will sell secrets
My
to Xi
country
Jinping.
sold me out. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Well,
give it to China. Don't give it to Russia.
The minerals, Marie.
I don't trust Vladimir Putin. He's a thug. But that's Xi Jinping. He's thinking he's got the mindset. He's planning like centuries in advance.
Yeah.
And I think it's time, President Xi. It's time to move. It's time to take what your destiny says will be yours.
All right. Well,
Follow the sun.
That's it for this week's combined episode of News Dump Weird News. Anyways,
Nude Weird's like a Spike TV show in 2003. Nude Weird.
It's very late. Our everything broke here
Yeah.
for a period of time, so we're about 2 hours behind. Anyways, that's it for News Weird. Please watch our most recent episodes over here. Like the video. Click the like button. See, I'm not thinking. Click the like button.
Click it. Click the like button.
Also, here's the good news. Our collectible dolls have shipped.
Yeah.
I got an alert for that.
Those dolls coming soon to your house.
That's good news we can end on. Now click the like button, leave a comment, check out the videos that are popping up over here, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.